Yep, I got scared. You heard that.
Now that's how you break a drill bit. So we have these wires pretty much ran to where I'm happy with it. I want to get a little bit more slack out of this. That way it tucks in there a little bit better. I'll pull that back. I'm just making sure we have enough slack. I'm gonna flip these cables. Sits a little bit better that way. We do got the alignment pins for, we do have alignment pins for this bottom rail, so I'm gonna make sure we keep that available. All right, she's in. Now when you put these in, there's two tabs on one side that go into this panel. All right, so that's done. We're gonna move up front. I'm gonna get the inline fuses mounted up. We're gonna clean up the ends on the points that are going to the battery terminal. And then we are gonna wire up the speakers and the amplifiers and get the rear seat delete kit in. And we should be about done with the sound system at that point. So my plan, one of my inline fuses is gonna go here and one's gonna go here. I know I want to put it right about here. And yes, these are held in with a self-tap, but there's no sense in making your life harder than it needs to be. Now that's how you break a drill bit. We're gonna go ahead and clean this up. There's a lot of corrosion on it. That's much better. I don't know where I had this mounted, but man. Maybe we go there. There and there. That looks a little bit easier. And my wire will still reach, so that's the move we're gonna make. We're gonna go right here. That'll be good there. This runs up. Now we're not going to connect these like I said, just because we do have the wires just kind of floating all willy-nilly out there. And then I'll take this one and meet it up here. And yeah, I have a vise, but this is just a little bit more fun to hold it by my face and see what happens. I might have to shorten this wire. I want to see if I can go right here. Yeah, I might shoot for that. Go right. Here, I think wouldn't be too bad. Still have fuse box access. And still got wire access. So cool. We're gonna go right there. Kind of just flying by the seat of my pants on this one. No! Don't do it again. No. Don't need no times two. It's going to be incredibly hard to surface if I ever need to take this apart. Why do I drop everything? Why? Don't worry, I found my self-tap too. I'm actually probably gonna leave this angled up a hair. Just to make my life a little bit easier. Good enough for me. I don't know if that was my breath or if I was smoking that sheet metal. I'll go on to something important. Shouldn't be anything up there. I know there's stuff over here. I hope I didn't hit nothing. That one's gonna go there. That one goes over here. This one's also gonna go right here. And what I like to do with these is I'll tend to cut the wire about like halfway through the fuse. That way I know I still have enough room to do anything I have to do, including like stripping the wire back and all that happy stuff. Is it you? It is you. Cool. Back this all the way out. Should have no resistance going in. Now, that's about that deep. I tell this wire's been in the car for most of its life because it's still so fresh. There, she's fighting. Remember guys, if you haven't hit your head on the hood of the car at least twice, you aren't actually working on your car. Make sure you don't make contact. I drop everything. If it matters, it's on the floor right now. Probably should have put this on the wire before I stripped it, but I wasn't thinking. This goes on first. I'm doing great. Of course, that didn't pop down to where everything else did. I don't need that part. So that's in. We're gonna go ahead, put the set screw in. Try not to drop it on the floor again. Might have left a little bit too much exposed, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know. That one's lined in there. Try to cut a little bit less off of this one and not cut my finger. Every time I roll that back towards my finger, I'm like, here it goes. This is it. Cut by a dirty razor blade. Don't cut me. We can be friends. I promise we could be friends. We don't talk about all the extra wires that I accidentally cut while I did that. A few strands ain't gonna hurt nobody. I'm gonna learn from my mistake on this one and just take this set screw out, because if that one falls, I don't think I'm finding it. I like how I said I was gonna learn from my mistakes, then strip the wire and hope that I can get it in here. think I cut this one perfect. Second time's the charm. Set screw. Should I have replaced the inline fuses? Probably. Am I going to? No, not at all. Not a chance. The worst part was I literally have one sitting on the desk and I was like, nah, this one already has a fuse in it. So now the power wires are set up and ready to go. We're going to go ahead and I think in a little bit we can test the amps and everything. But we're going to wire in the speakers and we'll go from there. So for this side's channel A, this side's channel B. So this is front, this is rear. Top is right, bottom is left. So I said bottom's left, I believe. Yes. So we're going to start off with this wire. Yeah. Oh, I need wire cutters too. I'm doing swell. Go ahead, snip in between. Separate the wire a little bit. I try not to go too crazy on wire separation. Feel like it keeps it a little bit neater. That's 14 inch. So what I like to do is I'll twist the wire up, slide you in there nice and good like. My light died. I'll be back. Apparently it didn't die. Apparently it just don't like me. Oh, I got the motion sensor on the wrong side, that's why. I got these things brand new and these things are horrible. I haven't found a single good pair of wire strippers in this style. And I own Snap-on ones. So if you guys got any recommendations, hit me up. Because I like that style, I just don't ever... I'm never able to find a good set in that style. The Snap-on ones don't even cut right. So what I did, because these things are a little large, I doubled over the wire. Now I'm going to give her a good old crimping. Stop. She gonna twist. Enough. My phone's getting loaded up. There. And then I made the striped one my negative. So positive is left. Oh, I left a note. I love it. Striped is indeed negative. I was kind of just guessing at that one. Now, where's my stripe? There's my stripe. So we're going positive, negative. Should be correct. Yes. Go ahead and tighten these two down. Now, mind you, the reason why I don't remember what my positive and negative are definitively is because I think I did this, I think I wired that portion of it like 3 days ago. I work 6 days a week, so I do this in my free time, which there isn't a whole lot of that. And my response to not having free time is, let's open a YouTube channel, so I really don't have any free time. I do enjoy the process, though. The first few videos were a little cringy to edit, because I'm like, this is awkward. But The more I do it, the less awkward it feels. And these wires are done diddled. Stripe is negative. Loosen these two up. I'll probably wind up upgrading this 4-channel amp to something else at some point. But for right now, I have it, and it works. So that's better than it could be. It would have been better than it could be if I put that underneath the ground wire instead of on top of it. Round 2. This time with sensitivity. I bought flush cuts and still cut these things like a savage. Sitting here just cutting it with diagonal cutters. How long did I make these wires? Do I really want to shorten those? I mean, I kind of do. But that gives me a lot of freedom to float these a little bit more. Little bit of extra wire ain't hurt nobody. Not a flush cut. Flush enough, I ain't touching it again. Straight. Straight's negative. Power, ground. I feel so smart for unconnecting that speaker now when I could have just moved the ground wire around and been perfectly fine. And then I didn't route that one. So now we're going to take a remote turn on wire. We're going to cut it right about here. And we're going to turn this one wire into 2 wires that is going to power both of our remote turn-ons. So I'm going to go grab a little, probably 1-foot section of wire, and we will go from there. So in all honesty, doing this is probably like a violation of multiple peace treaties across multiple countries. But I strip both of these wires. And these are going to get their own connector. Well, I think the other amplifier doesn't use a connector. It's just a retaining screw that holds it in. But one of these is going to get a connector. The other one is going to go straight to that amplifier. We're going to do, something like that should work. And strip this end. As much as I would like to say that there's a trash can right next to me, there's not. Then I just twist these two together and I snake it right up in there into the butt connector. For good measure, she's in. So we're going to get one of these a connector loaded onto it, and the other one's just going to be kind of sat in the other direction. And we are one step closer to being finished, because now I set the seat delete kit in, I gotta run some wires for the subwoofers, and those wires are just gonna run from the amplifier, run underneath the delete kit, and come out on the back side, and then run underneath the subwoofers and into them. With that, I'm gonna get this connector in, and I think that's it for tonight, guys. So guys, I made a little bit of a modification because my rear seat delete kit came out of a 99. I cut 1 3/4 inches off of these dowels, and it lines up pretty good because I have a 2x4 in the center. And then these line up right underneath where the subs are gonna sit. So we're just gonna go ahead and rock with that. They were on there pretty good. So we got this bar remounted. I am going to grab another clip for that side because it's pop free. We're gonna route the, we're gonna set up the wiring for the amplifier for the subwoofers. Man, I cannot think today. We're gonna run a couple sets of wires for each sub, set the rear seat delete kit in place, well, the bottom portion of it. Then we will get the back in place, and I'll catch you guys from there. So what I'm doing here is, because we only have one input for the subs out of the head unit, I am going to connect both subs to the same port of the amplifier. So I'm stripping the wires so that I can twist these together. And one is slightly longer than the other just because one sub is slightly further from the amp. I kind of guesstimated the second one. The first one I gave a slightly educated measure to, but I tried not to overthink it too much. So we want striped with striped. All I'm doing here is I'm twisting this wire so that contacts as one. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And you could solder this. I do need to practice soldering, but I'm trying to get this done. I'd like my car back. We can go ahead and strip these sides. Where'd I put my wire cutters? I'm going to give these a little bit more of a gap, just so that I'm not fighting getting the subs plugged in when that time comes. And this is 18 gauge speaker wire. I did finally bother reading the package that it came with. I mean, it's only stamped on the spool. I haven't bothered reading. And we're continuing our theme with a negative stripe. Well, a stripe on our negative, because I wired the whole car that way. It doesn't make sense to change it now. So that's done. We're gonna go ahead, jump back into the car. We have this ready. We're gonna start setting up the amplifier. I did have that bar that I had built to lock down my subwoofers. I did paint that black. I might add another color. If I do, I'll film that too. That's currently drying. I don't know how long it's going to take because I think it's like 20 degrees out right now. So with that, let's jump into the car and I'll catch you guys in a second. So we're going to go ahead and put in the rear seat delete kit. And now, because for the life of me, I cannot remember where this is supposed to sit, I'm going to set this in place so it gives me a good idea if I'm close or not. Oop. That sounded expensive. That looks about perfect. This is going to slide up in here. We're not fully committing to this just yet. These bolts should feed. Yep, right through there. Starting to look good up in here. Oop. It's in. That one's in. Starting to look like a car up in here again. This should be plenty good for the subs. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get these bolts mounted into place. I'm not gonna bother doing that on camera because that is a royal pain to do. We will wire up the sub. Catch you guys in a minute. So first thing I really want to get done is I want to get this kind of mounted down. I think I'm gonna go right there. Just using self taps for this. I'm gonna double check that before I send that to heaven. No, I'm not going there. That'd have been a real bad idea. There's power wires there. I'm gonna go ahead and go where we went before. There she goes. Go ahead and strip these wires. I'm gonna unplug this for right now. I did. I just sank that. I don't have my remote turn on wire out here. Go ahead and tuck that girl back up in there. My remote turn on wires out here. That's back down. My remote turn on is first. Go ahead and grab my Allen key. So this is the remote turn on wire. That's in there. Next is ground. Next one is ground. It's good for your amplifier if you smack it around, show it who's boss, you know? So ground wire is in. Go ahead, strip the power. Now I'm gonna look up the owner's manual so I know which ports to plug my speakers into, and I'll be right back. We'll do that, and then we're gonna connect the power wires to the battery. We're gonna start her up and test it out once we get the subs in. So I did some reading of the user manual online, and it looks like it doesn't really matter what port you use. You just use one positive, one negative. So that's my negative. Slide you in there. Get you pinched down. Twist you guys back up. You guys like to come apart for whatever reason. These ones don't want to stick together. Why can't we be friends? Here we go. There's nothing in these, I'm just cinching them down, letting it run. Those are in. I'm gonna flip you guys over to the other seat. I'm gonna crawl up in there, put in one sub, and then I'll catch you guys in the front while you guys catch me putting in the final touches of connecting the power wires to the battery. I'm gonna set the seat in place, but I'm not gonna bolt it in place. Just gonna make sure everything works. We'll go from there. We're gonna be doing the same thing on both sides. Stripe is negative. Slide this back a hair. It's going to be the same thing for both sides, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other one put in, and I'll catch you guys up front. We're going to go ahead and get the power cords connected to the battery. Imagine this battery's probably pretty close to dead after sitting for so long. Ooh. I didn't expect that one to come online. Alright, so that's all done up. I'm going to swap batteries, set the seat in place. We're going to fire up this system for the first time. Hey guys, so just an update as to where we're at this point. It's kind of hard to like show how good the system is without, you know, playing copyrighted music. But so we got to clean up, put the seats in. I did have a wiring issue when I was sitting up front. I noticed I couldn't hear anything out of my door speaker. I have a wiring issue somewhere either in the ground or the positive of that speaker. So I'm going to redo the connections here at the amp because that seems to be what my issue is. I thought it might have been behind the head unit, so I was pulling that out. We get that put back together. But as always, guys, thanks for watching to this point, and I'll catch you guys when we're finishing up either tomorrow or in a couple of days. I will have to have a video out on Tuesday. So we're gonna go ahead and get this sub bar in place. So I went ahead and got the bar mounted. I wound up having to use one of these spider drill bits to get through that metal. That's pretty thick steel. These cut amazingly. So I'm gonna go ahead, find the screws to put the amps up onto this bar. We're gonna vacuum out the car, put the seats in, put the interior back together, and we're done. So I'll catch you guys when I locate some screws for this thing. I don't know where the screws that I took out of this bar went, but I found some that work. That's all that really matters. I'm glad I caught that. I have to rewire this sub. There she goes. That one's up. I'm gonna grab my wire strippers, fix that wire. Flip to the other side. I'll catch you guys in the car when we're reassembling the interior. We're gonna go ahead and put the seat back in. That one's back in, so we're gonna go ahead, start setting up the center console and everything. And we're just about wrapped up on this project. So, setting this in place. I'll probably see if I can come up with some better way to hold this thing in place at some point. that's in. Go ahead and plug this bogue in. And I do have that OEM cowl, so we're gonna go ahead and get that done today too. I was just thinking, I don't like that cigarette lighter anyway. I'm gonna go grab that other plug. I'm gonna actually run this Android Auto cable down here by the shifter. Those are in. I am going to go grab, I'm gonna see if I have a grommet this size to kind of reduce any potential rattle. It goes up in there. The question is, can I fit this stuff up over it? And yes, I can. That gives me a hard stop on it. And wing this stuff up through. Actually, I'm probably going to wind up pushing that back in just a little bit.
I did it for you.
Girlfriend brought me lunch. Was delicious. Just trying to get this grommet in. I don't know if I'm be able to manage to do what I'm trying to do, but my thought process is put the grommet in place and then use this knob on the USB cord to kind of just lock it in. Cool. There we go. Push this back so it doesn't get in the way of the shifter. I didn't realize that side was broken. Alright. So that's in. Got my Android Auto. I wish this thing locked down a little bit better, but she's in. Android Auto cable is there. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to put the cowl on that I got. I'm going to put this other seat in. And then I'll catch you guys at the end. So I have put this aftermarket cowl on. We're taking this off. I have an OEM one piece. It should fit way better than this thing does. Crazy that actually clipped in as much as I had to fight that thing. Unfortunately, my underhood light's dead at the moment, so we're just gonna roll with what we got in terms of lighting. Nice new one-piece cowl. Be living in luxury now. Now, the guy I got this from said he doesn't take these bolts out of this A-pillar panel. I'm going to, just so I don't snap this thing, because I will lose my mind if I break it. Should give us a little bit of wiggle room. Not much, but it might be just enough to feel safe doing something with this. Ah, a finger. That side's under. That is under. Make sure all these clips line up before I start smacking on this thing. Oh, that fitment is beautiful. I love it. Almost like this is what the car came with. I don't care if I have a center clip in here, honestly. It already fits so much better. With that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the two little bolts I took out back in to the A-pillars. And I'm gonna go wash her up, and I'll catch you guys at the end. All right, guys, well, she got all washed up. I mean, she ain't the cleanest in the world, but she looks a lot better than she did. We got our head unit in place. You got the amplifiers hung up on that bracket, subs are in. Did a bit of a swaparoo on the interior panels. Pretty happy with how she looks. That's something we're gonna fix eventually. Replace that door hinge. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week. We're probably gonna do like a shop tour. But for right now, I'm gonna get to cleaning up this shop because it's a mess from the last few weeks of working on this car.